Well, welcome to the first video of 2024. We changed it up a little bit, changed little logos. We got some pictures from the trail in the intro now, and hope everybody's enjoyed it and come back. Today we're in the snow and ice on January 15th, 2024, and we're going to show you a little map. We just did Spas Creek. We went all the way down it in one direction and came back in the other direction. We played the whole trail going in and just the highlights coming back. We turned around and just came back because we had snow and ice. So we turned left here off 713 onto Spas Creek. It also has a sign that says Hatton Ridge Road. And I sped up most of this stuff pretty fast so we can get through it. Tried to make it a reasonable length. It's a little bit longer than most of mine, but it does have the entire trail in it, just so you can see everything with the snow. And of course you can always pause it yourself and get a better look at some things if you want. The snow hides a lot of stuff. We do this trail a lot, so I'm pretty familiar with it. If you're not familiar, the snow can hide a lot of things on you and you can get yourself into trouble. Make sure you have plenty of gear and get yourself out. On this day it wasn't too bad. It was still snowing and it was cold, and there's ice in the mud holes. If you notice, nobody's been on this trail before us today. So virgin snow today, January 15th, 2024. First time we had snow and the only time this year. Significant amount. Had a little bit the day before. I do have some other videos I skipped to get this one out since spring is already here and I'm that far behind. We're coming up on the actual entrance to Spas Creek here. You'll see the sign here up in front of us as we turn. I slowed down the video so you'd see it right there. And now we're going to take on off down this hill. This hill has some little flexi spots in here at the beginning, and there's a rocky hill to go down. So if you have limited clearance, you need to pay attention because there's a few rocks that you might catch your diff on if you don't go over them correctly. You can see them. You're not going to see them much in this video because the white doesn't contrast very well. But as you drive up on them, you can kind of see them poking through. We had about 4 inches of snow in places, less in others. It's down in the teens, pretty chilly. And this is the opposite direction than most people go. Most people come south to north and then catch Pumpkin Hollow and go back. Since we were going in this direction, we just thought we'd do it both ways. And hopefully you'll enjoy that. We're coming up on the first big mud hole, which is the last one coming the other direction. And you'll see the ice breaking underneath the wheels. It's not real thick in this particular spot. We've seen thicker in other places. Now you must not go through these too fast. The things are dangerous as you can send a chunk of ice through your radiator, and you really don't want to ruin your day like that back in here. You see how deep the water is here at one spot? It's about 2/3 up at 33. And here it is from the rear view. Have quite a bit of a rear view in here in places, you know, when we went through it. Not as much as when we have followers with us, but enough. Again, we're going down this hill here. There's a rut or two there right on top as you get out of that hole. But going downhill, gravity's your friend. As you can tell, we're still getting a little rain and snow. It's on the windshield there. And we're heading down to the chute. I'd like to hear from you guys. Like, shares, comments, subscribe if you like. I try to put out at least a video every week or so, and do almost all of it in the Backcountry Byway. Occasionally I'll go to a few other places, but most of the time, all of my time is spent around here. I take small groups. We do intimate groups. There you go. You can see where we went down the chute there. And we round this corner here, you'll see some icicles from a waterfall here off to the left a little bit. We'll see them more on the way back. See them there? There's a little waterfall that's iced up. We do small rides with groups, no more than 3 or 4 rigs. We usually take a lot of pictures. they make it on the Facebook page, and we catch up in the videos. If you've watched any of mine, you've seen that we show a lot of the other riders as well. Now we're heading down the creek. There's some water here in the creek running underneath this snow and ice, and we're going to come down here to a little breakover point that we usually come the other direction on, and we usually get up or down at no problem. If you're a longer vehicle, occasionally you will catch steps if you have steps. It's hard to notice it here because of the snow being so bright. It's right here in front of us. And we're going to go up it, and we'll put the rear camera on it. You can see it there, spun a little bit in the snow, and you can see how we got up it there. Again, I have a lot of experience on this trail. I couldn't tell you how many times I've done it. If you have never done it, you need to make sure you don't go alone. There can always be problems, like that tree right there. Somebody, I don't know, looked like they used a hatchet or something to chop some of the limbs off, caught off guard. We usually carry a chainsaw and a lot of other recovery equipment, because sometimes you have to drag it out of the way after you cut it. And if you're by yourself, you really need to have good equipment with you. Again, I sped this up considerably. It takes a good hour or so, hour and a half to do Spas Creek. It's not only long, but it also, on the one end, on the south end, it has a long gravel road of a couple of miles before you get out to any paved roads. We won't be showing that today. We're just going to get to that end and turn around and head back. Show it from the other direction as well. Off to the left there's a creek. You can't hardly tell it with the weather here. And there's some more mud holes. Some of these are still relatively deep. Finally started raining in January, so there's the ice breaking up. And we're going to show that from the rear. And we're going to move on down through here. And again, we'll show a little rear camera action when we have one of the deeper holes here and there. Otherwise, we're just going to scoot on through the snow and just show you what it looks like. That spot right there is where the tree has the no trespassing sign, where it has the little harder obstacle right there in the middle of it, going in the other direction. You might be able to see the snow flying if you have a larger device, you're watching on a TV or something. It doesn't show up very well on smaller devices, but you can see it a little bit here and there. You can tell there's a mud hole there with the snow on top of it and breaking up some ice. I am probably not going more than, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 miles an hour. Again, this is sped up. Don't try to drive it this fast. In the description, I have other information about the Jeep. It tells you all the particulars about how I'm equipped. If you're interested, this is a 2-door TJ. It's short, and it doesn't have a lot of trouble with breakover angles. Longer vehicles, the longer you are, the more tire and lift you need to do the same thing. And steps are almost always a problem. They can drag on rocks or dirt. Dirt's not as big a problem most of the time. Here we're going to go into something a little bit deeper here. And we'll show this from the rear. You can see it breaking up in front. The side camera got dirty there, and I didn't have it cleaned off. Oh, there it is. And now you can see the ice floating out there from it. I had forgotten. There is a place that the camera got dirty and I didn't catch it. So you can see by the bag on the back, the sacket bag, every now and then it hits the water or the ground depending on what I'm going over. And there's some more ice breaking up. Again, we're the first ones on the trail today. This is a Monday. I took an extra day off work just for this. We're usually up here available on Saturdays. Occasionally we're available on Fridays if anybody's interested. I try to let everybody know when we're up here and available. If anyone's interested in being led on something. You can tell the water's running down through here because you see a little trail right there through the snow. My wife takes a lot of pictures. We stopped several times and she puts those over on Facebook in an album. Those are already over there. She usually gets those done a whole lot faster than I get the videos. Here's another deeper one. We're going to show that from a couple of different perspectives here, I believe. And again, that one is about halfway up the 33. You can see the ice accumulating on the rock rails there. Every time I splash up, rock sticks to that metal and a little more water splashes on it and builds up. Now we're going to go down. This is a flexi spot here. Coming up it from the other direction, it's a nice flexi spot. And a nice good clear creek crossing there. And there's some more snow and ice. Every mud hole's a ice hole today. And just a little deeper one here. It does have a bypass on the left in this direction, or right, coming from the other direction. And you can see this one's a little bit deeper. It gets down to about half, 2/3 of the tire. Doesn't look too bad there. And we should have a little rear camera coming up here in just a minute. The front camera is showing the entire trail. So the other parts are the ones that I'm just clipping out and showing highlights. There's a log right here on the left that eventually is going to be washed into this hole. It's wearing the erosion under it. I've been watching it for quite some time. You can see a little closer right there. And we're zipping on through the trail here. The other parts of it are actually fairly smooth. The creek is off to our right now, and we stopped here a few times, and there's a picture of the ice building up on the front bumper, place where we stopped. The wife was taking pictures for the Facebook page. And we just continually just move on down the trail. Those little gaps you see are usually where I pulled off a little crooked so she can take pictures from the Jeep, and I just clipped out that part for the most part, and that way the forward momentum stays mostly the same. So sometimes we'll stop for several minutes and don't need to leave that in. I don't know why I stopped there. Didn't catch that one apparently. But it wasn't long. It's really beautiful back in here, especially when the snow falls. You can actually look up through the trees, and a lot of times they tend to blend in when the ground's all brown, the trees are brown, but when it snows, you can see the ground better up in the hills. And there's also a few rock features here and there that look pretty good with snow on them. And this looks like a pretty good mud hole here. These are still full of mud and water when during the summer as well. They all stay about the same. For the most part, they have drain-offs that drain down to the creek. When you drive into it, pushes the water out, so you never get really too deep. Creek crossings are something else. sometimes beavers will make a dam and the creeks will rise because of that until they get taken out. Yeah, the mud doesn't look real pretty on the pristine snow. And you can see the creek off to the right there. Cross this creek several times. It'll be on your right, it'll be on your left, all the way through the trail. It's a nice little creek, pretty clear creek crossing here. The water was nice and clear. That wasn't a mud hole, that was the actual creek. You notice how the ice must have been thicker. It didn't break all the way across. It left some tread looking breaks. Now here we go crossing the creek again. Just got across it, and now we're crossing it again. Again, those little breaks right there are when we stop to take pictures for the most part down the creek. Those pictures again are over on the Facebook page and albums, and if you want to go back and refer to those after you watch the video, they show a lot more scenery off to the side. There's the creek on the right side again, running down through there. It's very scenic. Can't see things quite as well when the spring breaks because all the little bushes kind of grow up and block your view. There's a rock right there. There's plenty of room to get through here. Just take your time. It looks tighter than it is. This little TJ probably has 2 feet or more on each side. I went through it in another Jeep that was wider and still had plenty of room. Most of your trucks and all won't have any trouble there either. Going through that, the places that are tighter, there's another picture where it popped up. Notice the ice is getting a little more built up on the bumper the further we get into here. The tighter spots, the longer vehicles have to be more careful, have to back up and pull up, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times to get through a spot. And here we're coming up on the down tree. You can go under it or around it. In this direction, we're going to go backwards up and around. It's a little slick today, so may have to hit this a couple of times to get up it, just because of the snow. You'll notice I'm spinning a little bit. And I've got a locker in the front and limited slip in the rear, so I had to hit it and kind of get it moving. You notice I still pretty well got right up it. That was just due to the snow and slickness. And of course, going down, you just pretty much slide down. We'll show that from the rear here. You can see where I have to hit it twice. Slid a little bit there to the right in that picture, if you noticed, and then got right up it. I do air down to somewhere between 15 and 20 pounds most of the time, and it does make a difference, both in ride quality as well as obstacles. And there we are going down it. The tree behind us again. On the other direction, we're going to go under the tree just because to do it different. Nice little clear creek crossing again there. The water was nice. It was running enough not to freeze. I didn't slow down any on some of these mud holes. We just powered right through them because there really wasn't too much to a plain old mud hole. But some of these other ones get a little better attention. Shoving that ice to the side. There's that clear creek crossing from behind. And now to a few mud holes. A couple of these are a little deeper than others, but again, all of them drain off. They don't get but just so deep before they drain off. Even though it's a long mud hole, sometimes it's not a deep one. Notice that's probably not 6 inches deep. Now we're coming up on, I believe, we come from the other direction. This is a breakover point where sometimes if you're longer you drag and we get right over it. You got to watch that if you're longer and have steps or something on your sides, or if you have smaller tires, it'll cause you to drag there. You can probably go high and clear it a little bit better, but that doesn't mean it'll be easy. I have taken Gladiators through this on 32-inch tires, and here's a good mud hole here. I chose the mud hole as opposed to the bypass, and this one's a little deeper. If you look up ahead there, you'll see somebody change their mind, got in here and turned around, and they're spinning their tires. There that is from behind. And we'll see a little clip here of those folks trying to get out. They're in two-wheel drive vehicles and decided they'd had enough, so they turned around about that mud hole, because I can see where they've been in the road now. Up to this point, it had been only us on the snow, and they finally got turned around. And down through here, we're going to see, obviously they had already been through it, so some of the mud holes are already broken up. So from here on out, it's already, somebody's already been here, so we going through mud and don't have the pretty snow sitting on top of the ice holes. But we're about out. We don't have much left to do. There are a couple of crossings and that's about it. And then we're going to turn back around and head the other way. And we're only going to show a few highlights. We're not going to be doing the whole trail from the other direction. We're just going to show you a few of the, I don't know if they'll call them obstacles, the points that, points of interest, I guess you could call them, depending on how you're equipped, or more of an obstacle or not. But I'm just going to show those, so we'll get through it a whole lot faster. There's a little tight spot right there besides that creek where you need to stay up against that dirt wall. Still got to watch for washouts and trees and all of that stuff. Try to make it, leave the place better than you found it. We usually always pick up garbage. I don't know if we picked up much on this day because of the snow had it covered up. But we usually always pick up a bag full of garbage every time we're in the area. Pretty easy from there on out. We'll come up to another creek crossing, I believe, right here. Quick stop for pictures and going on. And we're getting close to the end. I made sure to give those folks plenty of time ahead of me to get on out, so we didn't run up on them and have them in our front camera the whole time. They were the only other ones that had been out here, so not a lot of people out. This is a Monday morning, or maybe afternoon, but it's Monday, January 15th, 2024. And we're going to be turning around here in a second. Next thing you'll see is a picture that we took just before we took back. We finished north to south. Now we're going back the other way, south to north. And this is just going to be the highlights. We're not going to show the whole trail. We'll show some of the water crossings, some of the breakovers, and the chute, of course. There's the first creek crossing. We're going to come up on the breakover here pretty soon. That's where we ran up on the two-wheel drives right behind us. And here's that mud hole, that deeper mud hole, where you can go around it on the right if you want to. It's got a bypass. It was about halfway up to 33, maybe a little bit more. Sometimes it is a little deeper depending on how much rain we get. Again, they don't get me just so deep. Okay, here's the break over into the mud hole. That's a popular place that we stop and take pictures at if people are with us. That and the other breakover point at the other end, and the chute, of course. You can see that's a little deeper. We broke it up the last time. It isn't cold enough to refreeze. And here's the tree. We're going to go under it this time before we went around it. This is where I'd send longer vehicles that have lower ground clearance. If you're on about 32s or long, you definitely need to go that way, because that's pretty steep. Or if you're going to attempt the other way, make sure you're not alone and have equipment. Here's that spot where the little ice trails stays frozen together. We're going back up this. The water's still pretty clear. And we got some mud hole action here from the rear camera. And I believe there's the log. It's on the right now, obviously, since we're going the other direction. Again, I took the easy side this time. Last time I went down the flexi side. The other side is a little easier, smoother. And then I'm going to go right back through that mud hole we came up on the other side, and now we're going to go down it. Not as deep as it looks. You shouldn't have any trouble getting through this. Some people think it looks intimidating. You're worse off if you try to go around it to the left, because there's some deep mud ruts on that left side. If you try to avoid it, there's some more ice built up on the front bumper. You can tell how far we've been. We get a little more ice all the time. That's just from spray splashing up on the bumper. And you can see some ice pieces that are on the rock rail. I probably got some of them broke off when I climbed in and out when we turned around. And here's the breakover. We came up this before, now we're going down it. I'd like to know what everybody thinks. Get on there and make a comment. I'd appreciate it. I'd like to know that people like what I'm doing, or if you got other suggestions. There's the ice there on coming down that little waterfall. You can see it again there in the left camera. And now we're going to go up this, and it's pretty slick. It takes me a few hits to get up it. Normally I get right straight up it when it's dry or just muddy. That ice was giving me a little bit of trouble. I don't try to hit them too hard. I don't want to break stuff. I'm not into breaking things. Sometimes you don't have a choice if you're not equipped well enough. Of course, there's trees up there you could hook a winch to. Hit it a little bit harder and got right up it. And here it is, looking the same way from behind how I tried 2 or 3 times to get up it. Just because I'm experienced doesn't mean I don't have trouble occasionally too. I backed all the way up. Got another good run at it. And popped right up. And now we're coming up on that last big mud hole that was the first one in the other direction. And we'll show that from behind. It's hard to, and the side, it's hard to tell much about it from just the front camera. You don't get a very good perspective. But the side and the rear kind of add to that. That's why I provide those as well. Okay, here's the dbbb sign up here on the left. See it there? We saw it coming in, and we're going to zip on out same way we came. When you go up through here, there's a place you want to make sure you make a left, because if you don't, you'll end up at a cemetery, so I'm told. There's some pretty scenic rocks here on the left. They look pretty cool with the snow on them. And we'll notice here, I think I have a little tag coming up that says make sure you stay left here. There is a tree just as you turn left. It has a dbbb sign on it. It's small. You could miss it. So anyway, this is a gravel road, and with the snow on it, it's pretty smooth. Usually it's kind of like a washboard, and you don't want to go very fast on it because it will kind of rattle you pretty good. And we're going to come on out here, and we're going to end up back at 713, and we're going to make a right, and we're going to end up back at the cabin. But you take 713 all the way around to 460, and you can make a left to Mount Sterling, or you can make a right to go into Frenchburg from there. If you want to go to Pumpkin Hollow, you go left right here, right now. Hope everybody enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.